So we're making a video on a very strange topic, and I thought this would be alright since the Canadiens and the Devils don't play today, so I think there's room in y'all's attention spans, if you're a fan of either of those two teams, to acknowledge this conversation. But today we're going over to New Jersey Devils goaltender Jake Allen, and some recent comments he had made earlier today in regards to the entire trade process which sent him over from Montreal to the Devils on the trade deadline. Now, this was always going to be a conversation because Jake Allen was on the market for pretty much the entire season. The Canadiens had three guys, Montembeault, Primo, Allen. They didn't want to waive Primo. They knew he'd get claimed. They wanted to commit to Montembeault. They signed him to an extension. So Jake Allen was always seen as the odd man out. But the problem was his contract at what is now $1.9 million against the Devils cap hit, but $3.8 in the Canadiens cap system, was always going to be difficult to move, because Allen was a little bit older, and because there wasn't really too many extra teams that needed goaltending help, plus the fact that Allen had an .892 save percentage in 21 games played with the Canadiens this season. Pretty bad numbers, all things considered, even though there was the odd game or two where he would come out there and put on a great show. So when Allen was inevitably traded over to New Jersey, a lot of Canadiens fans said, okay, finally. This guy was on the market for so long, there was always this idea floating around that he could stay. Kent Hughes made it very clear that they wouldn't trade Allen away unless they actually got a return they felt was appropriate, and I guess for them, it comes in the form here of a third-round pick. That's it. But either way, all Jake Allen and Montreal talk aside, I wanted to go over this comment made by Jim Behringer talking about what Jake Allen said after practice, that the New Jersey Devils actually tried to trade for him earlier in the year. Allen, though, did not waive his no-trade clause because, at the time, with Vitek Vanacek and Akira Schmid, he didn't see a future or playing time in New Jersey. In my opinion, Jake Allen would have played and Schmidt would have gone down. Now, the top reply goes out there and says it's kind of embarrassing that he couldn't piece that together, and I'm seeing a lot of people going out there and saying similar things in regards to Jake Allen, especially in response to these comments that he made. Oh, I didn't waive to go to New Jersey earlier in the season because with Vitek Vanacek and Akira Schmid, I didn't really think that I'd get any playing time. Well, spoiler alert, Jake Allen, the New Jersey Devils were looking for a goaltender for pretty much the whole year, mostly because when you talk about those two guys, Akira Schmid and Vitek Vanacek had numbers that were arguably as bad as Jake Allen's, maybe even worse. .895 save percentage for Schmid, .890 save percentage for Vanacek, .891 for Nico Daws, and their goals against averages were all above 3. So, Jake Allen, with his .892 and a .365, is right neck and neck with a lot of these guys in terms of how bad they have been. Now, we saw the New Jersey Devils trade Vanacek away and get Kaapo Kähkönen in response, so they pretty much shaked up their entire goaltending core over the span of trade deadline week. But I wanted to go over some of the extra ideas in regards to this Jake Allen not willing to trade for New Jersey thing because he didn't see a future nor any playing time with the team. The top comment goes out there and says, bro saw how ass the Devils goalie situation was and was like, yeah, they kind of need my help. Because with this being the case here, it kind of implies that the second time around, when Jake Allen was offered to go to New Jersey a second time, that's when he was like, oh, okay, yeah, they're pretty bad. They actually need my help. Now I'm going to accept a trade, and now I'm going to waive my no-trade clause, because earlier on, I didn't do it. I thought I wouldn't get any playing time. Now, because they're so bad, this is the time for me to accept. Here's another reply. Yeah, that backfired for both parties. That's a pretty fair perspective as well, because when you think about it, Vanacek and Schmid earlier on in the year were sort of on the beginning parts of their downfalls, and the implication here is, hey, Jake Allen actually was pretty okay during the earlier parts of the year. It's only recently that I would say he started to become extraordinarily bad. We even made a video asking whether or not Jake Allen was intentionally tanking his trade value to stay in Montreal. That's how bad it got. And with this idea, I mean, it backfired for both parties because the Devils got worse with their goaltending, and Jake Allen's personal goaltending got worse too. Never ever ask Jake Allen for fantasy hockey advice. That's what I'm taking away from this, because if the guy can't even figure out that if he goes over to New Jersey, they'd send one of Vanacek or Schmid to the backup position, then hey, what else is this guy thinking about in the world of hockey? Another reply says the Devils' goaltending was and is so bad that Jake Allen started believing in himself again, which is kind of why he accepted to go over there the second time they asked him. Every goalie plays like they don't have a future in New Jersey, and that seems like an unfortunate burn because, yeah, I mean, as we just looked at, they've all been very bad this season. Jake Allen hasn't even played a game yet for the Devils, so we'll see if this .892 save percentage that they had in Montreal will carry over to his team in Jersey. Did he not watch Vanacek play at all? It wasn't hard to steal his playing time this season. I mean, last year, Vitek Vanacek had a .911 save percentage, which would have been Allen's best in St. Louis in 1920. Akira Schmid was a promising young goalie that looked to have earned a regular role in the NHL with his play last season and in the playoffs. It's not an unreasonable take by Allen at all, assuming this was pretty early in the season. I think anyone's numbers would drop being traded to that Habs team. He was on our cup run that season and did a pretty good job while Carey Price was injured. I just think that he's a .910, 3 goals against goalie, playing in a league where scoring is going up, which sees him closer to an .890 or a .900 as a result. He's not a savior, but he's pretty steady when he's being relied upon. And I'll never shake that feeling away, because even when Jake Allen was in the St. Louis system for his final years, during that bubble playoff stint, he was pretty good, and then he went over to Montreal and was pretty alright too, in the backup position behind Carey Price. Another reply goes out there and says, hey, imagine if the Devils had Jake Allen-level goaltending this year. Of course, they're not referring to Jake Allen, like, right now, .892 save percentage, 365 goals against, that's in line with what they had just heading into the trade deadline period, but Jake Allen goaltending from, let's say, normally, earlier on in the season, where he wasn't this bad. I mean, even last year he was as bad as he was this year, but if you consider Jake Allen still in that 900-plus territory, if you had that kind of goaltending this year, I mean, look, some Devils fans are saying we're probably a playoff team without question, if they had some of that caliber goaltending. The problem is Lindy Ruff would still be here, so he wouldn't really be going very far. Not that I'm shedding any tears for Lindy Ruff, but if I'm a Devils fan, I don't know how much ire I could must for a coach who was given that big of a crap sandwich in net. He basically coached every game already down a goal. More replies going out there and says, hey, going by expected saves for 60, Jake Allen is a bit better than your guys, but not by a lot. And I guess it makes sense. One final thought to end off this conversation here. Why be a third wheel somewhere far from your family when you can be a third wheel at home? I guess around the deadline, things got clear as to that he'd actually have playing time, so he waived. Kids can now finish the school year in Montreal and move over the summer. I think it's important to remember, too, that at the end of December, Jake Allen had started 13 of 36 games, so a 30-start pace. Montembeault struggled a bit out of the gate, so he was getting regular reps. So it wasn't a case where he wasn't playing in Montreal to a point that it would drive a change. It was really, once January hit, that the games that Allen played started to slip, as Monty took the starter for good, and Primo began outplaying him once he started to lose starts, which probably finally changed his mind. So at the end of the day, this Jake Allen trade conversation is very peculiar. The fact that he was asked to waive earlier on and said no because he didn't think he'd get any playing time, even though a bunch of Devils fans and analysts are saying that, yeah, no, if he was on this team, he probably would have played, and maybe Akira Schmid would have gotten sent down. We saw Vitek Vanacek get traded anyway, so there's big change happening in New Jersey. The question is, though, was it too little, too late? I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Jake Allen going over to the Devils and how his entire perspective was that he didn't really feel it would be all right to do that earlier on in the season, but inevitably changed his mind. Does this change the way you see Jake Allen and maybe how he himself perceived the Devils' goaltending situation? Does Jake Allen have a point? I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.